best way to start a conversation, Dean.
Or,
How's the weather? How's the weather in Fielding, Mr. Williamson?
well, what do you call good? These days we call good would be raining, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well...
So at the moment, it's not good, not so flashy at the moment, but we've had a bit of rain in the last couple of days, which has been fantastic.
So you'll be about ready for a dram after a very, let's say, big week?
Been a pretty interesting week, all right. So 1 week ago, we were, of course, we were in the Fielding office, and now here we are. We're scattered right throughout the country, working on farms and working from homes, and we're wondering whether we're going to go to print next week. But I gather well, I'd actually resigned ourselves to the fact that we wouldn't print on Saturday after the announcement last week from the government. However, we've got a lot of friends in Parliament, as it turns out. So the phone's been running red hot, and we've got some people canvassing for it. Look, as far as I'm concerned, whatever the government decides is going to be the right decision. I've got no problems with that, but I really would love to get the Farmers Weekly out to every farmer if they're comfortable with it over the next few weeks, most definitely.
So why is that, Dean, that Farmers Weekly's at risk?
What we've got is they've made the decision that it's dailies only. So, of course, us being a weekly, we're lumped in with all the others as well. But, of course, it is the only and it is the most frequent of all the publications that goes out to farmers. So we're hoping that it'll get across the line. There's a COVIS cabinet meeting tomorrow, and so we're expecting a decision either tomorrow or the next day. And I'm busy lining up printer and distribution to make it work.
Yeah, so, I mean, this morning on Talkback on the way in, Sunday Star Times is fine, and that's a weekly. So it's a wee bit all over the show, but at the same time, bit fairness to the politicians. They are running by the seat of their pants on something that's never been done before.
Oh, look, I think they're doing a fantastic job. They're building a fair bit of confidence and assurance right throughout the country, and that's really what we need at the moment. So, yeah, they're big decisions to make. And I guess we've got the benefit of everyone else's hindsight, really. So I hope that they really hold the line, hold it hard. We really do need to stamp it out, and the sooner we do that and just and get it right back so that we can at least crack on here in New Zealand, the better.
But, Dean, how did that make you feel about being non-essential?
How does it
I
make you feel?
mean that probably in the it's an interesting time out there for businesses to really reassess a lot of things. And you know, Serious Country Live tonight is an example of the kick up the bum that we needed to get on and innovate something we've probably had in the pipeline for a while. That's just one example. There'll be examples of this all over the show about Kiwis are good at that.
Oh, they most definitely are. That's what I actually love about this whole industry. Yeah, and look, we've done that in the last week, haven't we? So here we are. We get told that maybe we may not be publishing, but even if we I think that the odds on, and they were Damien's words on a text back to me tonight, so odds on we will be publishing and it'll be continuity and business as usual in many ways. And that's what we want to be able to do because that provides assurance. If you think after the earthquake, there was a lot of celebration just around the fact that the press managed to get their paper out the next day and give that same assurance. So we're looking to do that here. And, of course, we've got a team of 26 and they're mobilised. We're actually journalists and all around the world. This is their time. They are working so hard. There's a real purpose to what they're doing. And our guys are the same. That team that we've got of reporters and analysts and our digital guys, last week, I've never seen the guys work so hard with so much purpose and have so much satisfaction at the end of the week with what they've produced.
You've just recently written an opinion piece in Farmers Weekly calling the farming community, I'm going to say wider than farmers and growers, agripreneurs. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I love that word. I love that description of them. It's how often do you go somewhere and people say, oh, I'm just a farmer, and then they find themselves almost feeling like they've got to apologise for it. I love the fact that if people can call themselves perhaps an agripreneur, and you think of New Zealand, we are actually full of agripreneurs, and they're not just the people of the land. They are actually people right through this whole ecosystem that makes farming work and that feeds 50 million people all around the world. Because the innovation that is behind them able to do that is, that whole team game that it enables us to be able to deliver so much revenue back into New Zealand is just is fantastic. So they are all entrepreneurs. You think they get up every day, they've got to make decisions, and there's a hell of a lot of risk in it. And there's one risk at least you can't take out of it, and that's, of course, the weather. So these people that are people of the land, that are people who are producing in our primary sector right through. There's a lot of unknown, but they've still got the nuts to be able to go out and do it. So I just love the fact that they really are agripreneurs. They're leading the way, and of course, you know, right now we very much need the primary sector, as we always have. When you think back to 1882, they sailed a ship out of Dunedin with frozen lamb on it. Well, that was that sort of same enterprise and innovative thinking that delivered back to us revenue from export revenue, and it's been happening ever since.
We know that in the farming community about how important we are to the rest of New Zealand's prosperity. However, an opinion piece in Farmers Weekly this week, which we'll be catching up with David Clark next, really pissed some people off on social media, to be frank, over the weekend, Dean. What's your take on the headline? I mean, we should read beyond the headline. That's what we're constantly criticising urban people for not doing. You know, farmers shouldn't take this essential service classification as anything more than a privilege.
Yeah, I look good on David for saying it, really, because I think that it was taken out of context on social media, and that's just great for it. The social media really does invite that sort of thing, and it pays not to get caught up in it. But look, David was saying, he's saying the right thing. He's saying, right now we're relying on the primary sector, and the primary sector is allowed to get out and work, but let's not take advantage of that, or let's be very careful about the judgment that we make about who we actually get around us or get in for contractors and things. Let's keep everything to an absolute minimum, and let's do, even though they're working that flat out and they're having to keep things going, then let's make sure that we do our bit to make sure that we slow down this coronavirus and not put any, mitigate the risk entirely. So, you know, good on for David for saying it. Look, it did cause a bit of debate. Social media is not really the place to have that kind of debate. It does sort of invite maybe some of the wrong comments. But certainly, I think that the majority of farmers around New Zealand would certainly agree with David that this is actually an opportunity that for us in New Zealand and everybody in New Zealand to be able to slow down this horrible coronavirus and stamp it out. The sooner the better.
Yeah, and I mean, that's our running poll. If you've just joined us, you can go to farmersweekly.co.nz/Sarah's-country. We will put links up on the screen as of tomorrow and links up on Farmers Weekly. But you can participate in our poll there. And the poll is, do you think rural New Zealand understands the importance of self-isolation and social distancing? Currently, yes, to 93% only of you think that. 7% say no, we need to tidy up our act. Dean, your elderly father, he took it upon himself to self-isolate before he was told to by the government?
Yeah, he's a character, isn't he? Okay, so he was at a couple of weeks ago. He was in at the club, Fielding Club, Gentlemen's Club. He's 92, drives himself in there, has a cup of tea at 3 with the other, with his mates, and then a whiskey at 5. And he shouted the whiskies and he said, right, this is the last time we'll be having this for a while. And he explained, he says, because I'm off into self-isolation. So he decided right there and then, and he's looking after Mum. Mum's 88, and they're still out there on the farm where all of us 6 boys were growing up. So he's made a few decisions in his life, and he's battled through a few humps in the road. And he's and this is just another one in his view, and he's nailing through it. Well, he's got a massive veggie garden. We've filled his freezers with meat, and we drop in the essentials at the front door and have a chat. We don't go in and have a whiskey on a Sunday like we used to, but we drop it all there for them, and they're doing really well. So good on them. Yep, he made the decision early.
Thank you so much for joining us on the very first show of Sarah's Country live across all the Farmers Weekly channels. I really do appreciate you bringing me part of your stable, Dean, and believing in what I can bring to the table for the new chapter. But, you know, Farmers Weekly isn't going anywhere. You're here for the long haul.
Yeah, indeed. And good luck, Sarah. Good on you for doing this too. 1 week ago we hadn't decided. Now you're doing it. So fantastic. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. That's Dean Williamson, the co-owner alongside his wife Kushla. Williamson out of Fielding in his home office there. And I tell you what, I've been on the phone to Dean pretty much every day for the last week. And if anyone is a resilient man to get through that, certainly is Dean Williamson.
This is Sarah's Country.